Okay, you have 20 minutes starting now.
Good morning. In the first, I would do thanks for facilitators, senior leader from Academic Science of United States, and Professor Muhammad Al-Faham from Bibliothèque of Scandaria, and Miss Yusra Subeh from Bibliothèque of Scandaria. Also, thank you very much for my colleagues for this presentation. The subject of this presentation, mentor, training, relationship, and responsibility of them. The content. The first different content in this presentation. The first content, the goal and objectives. Determine the goal and objective of this presentation. The second point, what is mentor? Define of mentors. And the third point, selection of the mentors. And fourth point, responsibility of the training. And final objectives, discussion of the case study as models. The goal, that after these presentations, the participant will know what means the task and responsibility of mentor of training. The objectives, three objectives in this presentation. Number one, recognize the role of system mentor. Number two, to build a relation and commitment between the mentor and training. The final objective, to design a roadmap for monitoring the training. Continues this presentation by Monsieur Mohamed Al-Hilal.
Monsieur.
You parle France.
Bonjour or buongiorno. Welcome everybody. So let's focus on our subject. Today we're going to cover only the second objective, which is how to build a relationship and a commitment between the mentor and the trainee. So what do you think a mentor is? What is the definition of a mentor? Let's start by the first point. Mentor demonstrate and teach style and methodology in doing scientific research. Let me remind you, these are the tasks, the most important tasks and responsibilities of the mentor. So, can anybody, if you give me just one example for each point, example from real life, to make sure you understand what's meant by demonstrate the teaching and teach style and the methodology in doing scientific research. What should the mentor do in the lab, in real life, to do that? Just one example.
Demonstrate go hand by hand with his new student, teach him something.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's the same. Demonstrate good practice.
Yeah, and may I ask a question? How frequent should be the mentor in the lab per week, for example? How frequent should he visit the lab?
It varies according to
depends on the type of research and the step or okay.
Maybe one time per week minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum. And if everything is fine, and if even if he is very busy, at least just one time. If he has more time, just once in a week. If he has more time, he can visit more frequently. Yes.
I think it does not depend on time. It depends how he is interacting with his students, even by email, but at least should be weekly meeting and presentation for the.
That's what we call the group meeting, right?
But it does not depend on time.
Yeah.
It's the interaction and communication with the students.
I think it depends also on the evolution of the work. I mean, beginners needs more mentoring than seniors.
Yeah,
in the beginning of the work, maybe more frequently than at the end of the.
Yeah. Okay. All of you are correct, but let's summarize this by saying most professors have at least weekly group meeting, one per week. But according or depending on the research status and the student status, he can visit the lab more frequently, right? Okay. Mentoring guidelines for responsible conduct of research. What should the mentor do to monitor the responsible conduct of research in his lab? You understand the question? You got the question? What should the mentor do to monitor the responsible conduct of research in his lab? Okay.
He should ask to see the students' laboratory notebooks, laboratory practice.
Check the laboratory notebook
Yes, to check
frequently.
what
Yeah,
the student is doing, to make sure that the student understands what they're required to do, and then monitor the output.
You have to visit the student regularly.
Also, mentors should evaluate and critique scientific research. I think we have covered this point. He should visit the lab frequently and check the lab notebooks and make sure that everything is going fine, there is no data manipulation, everything is reasonable, and so on. Okay, let me ask a question here. Mentors should foster the specialization of trainees. Should it be like that, all of these topics, or should he help the student in the selection of his career, maybe, or specialty, or yes?
Should help, but not force.
Not force.
Should help, but not force, depending on his.
Yes, it's a very good point.
Yeah, scientific interest or what he wants to do. Should help and guide, not force.
It's like a guidance, or what you call it, nurture the side skills of the student to come up with outside in order to.
You have to give him guidelines. I mean, guidelines for the.
Give him guidelines.
Guidelines.
Okay, thanks.
Give him the appropriate information that the student can need.
Yeah. We can summarize that by saying in some countries and some institutions, mentor or dean of the school or the department, the head of the department allows students to talk to all the supervisors, all the supervisors, let's say, all the lab directors, and then select the topic of he has interest in. And in some other institutions, it's by force. You are forced to work on DNA. You are forced to do chemical synthesis. You are forced to do chemical synthesis, and so on. And this is not correct. You have to give your student a choice. Right? Okay, so most students at early stages of their program depend strongly on their mentor knowledge and expertise in helping them. Just to help, not to force him to follow some specialty or to be specialist in certain point or certain aspect of science. And finally, after getting his degree, a mentor should help the student in selecting or pursue a specific career by maybe introducing him or helping him to select whether to go to academia or industry and so on. And the mentor-trainee relationship should be an exclusive one. And of course, any relationship in life should or requires respect and trust, especially the mentor-trainee relationship. Now let's do some group work. What do you think the criteria for mentor selection are? I'll give you just 1 minute is enough because we are running out of time, and then we'll take one suggestion from each group or from each table. Criteria for mentor selection. How do you select your mentor? Okay, time is over. Let's start My table. Okay. So please, we are running out of time. Okay. Who would like to start? Confidence. But confidence in what? I should have confidence in my mentor.
In the person I trust.
Yeah,
Trust. Okay, you can say trust. Okay, second.
Helpful, has ability to guide.
Okay, helpful. You can say trustable, helpful. Any suggestion here? Yes.
From my point of view, he must be, he must have the same specialty that I have, because he will be...
The sense of what?
The same specialty that I have. Yes, because he will be able to understand my problems.
Same specialty? Okay.
Has good communication skills.
Okay, that's very important. Good communication skills. So just write down communication skills.
Maybe I think intellectual skill.
Intellectual skills. Okay, let's.
Knows the regulations of the institute.
Regulation of the institute.
I think it's very important that he is ethical.
Ethical.
So he doesn't do like.
Or ethics or code of ethics. Okay. I think you got most of the points. We're running out of time. Sorry about the interruption. So the criteria should be, I think we got most of them. First, the mentor should have active publication record and, okay, of course, financial base to help him keep the research going, national recognition, and also we should consider the tenure status, prior training record from his student, and also we should consider the current positions of recent graduates, and finally the organizational structure of the laboratory. You can visit the laboratory of your supervisor, of the supervisors working in your lab or in your institute before choosing or selecting the mentor you will choose. So now you have a better understanding, or you grasp the idea from this picture we saw before, and let us summarize the responsibility of the trainee. You can read them, act in a mature and ethical manner, and consider the time constraint of the mentor. This is the trainee. Okay, be proactive in training, maintain a good communication with the mentor. So it's a two-way relationship, right? And allocate enough time, of course, and effort. This is my common sense, we know. Now it's time for case study. I'll give you 2 minutes to read the case study and discuss with my colleague, Dr. Rani.
Everybody finished reading? Yeah. We'll move to another case study also too. The same mentor, huh? The case study is talking about the same mentor. Where is the question? Okay, everybody finished? Now we move to the question. Now, in these two case studies in which the same mentor in both students, do you agree with the judgment of the mentor about his students? Who will answer?
No.
Explain why. Give him the microphone.
Well, it seems, I don't agree first, and it seems to be that, well, the problem is in the mentor himself. So he's not capable of motivating his students. Already he does not have good points to work on. So it seems that students are very good because when they went to somewhere else, they were active and productive.
They succeed.
Yeah, they succeed, yes.
Another opinion? Yes, Ahmed?
Maybe the problem is not in the mentor himself, maybe it is in the lab. Maybe the let's say the training didn't fit in the lab. Maybe there was a conflict with other colleagues, so he was not performing well. When they moved to another labs, they performed better.
You mean the situation of the lab was not proper for the training?
Yes.
But the mentor was
not
mistaken in his judgment.
The mentor was, let's say, he didn't very good job because he didn't notice this maybe in the lab.
Any another opinion? Yes, Father.
I think the mentor should be a very patient person, and sometimes this relationship needs time to build between either the professor and the student or the mentor and the student. So he didn't have a wide heart and patience.
Okay. Yes.
I think the mentor here only judged students personally. He didn't take in consideration their work or how they think or what they are feeling. So it's just he's bright. So from the face view, or he is stupid from also face view.
So you mean that he was just an impression, no evidence?
Yes.
Just a subjective impression.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more ideas? Any more opinions? Yes.
I agree with most that the mentor might have not done a good thing, but we also need to consider that sometimes it's not the mentor's fault. Sometimes the student doesn't fit in this environment at all. It should be a two-way. It's not the student, it's not the mentor, they don't just click together.
Yeah. So there were no matching between the mentor, the students, or the lab, as Ahmed said. So what's the purpose of solving this scenario? Actually, we want to convey this message that we fully agree with you that the judgment was a subjective one, based on impression. There was no evidence. But what we want to convey to you that there should be a matching between the mentor, the student, and the lab to fit the lab. So the mentor maybe will be a good one for X person, student, but will not be fit for another. So this is the relation between the three. The other issue is that the mentor should be humble, as Fatma said, should be patient, should give time for the student to prove himself. So the learned lesson from this scenario is lesson learned from this case, that student, the lab, and the mentor have to be well matched, and all fit has to come together at the right time in the student's life. So that's what Rola said. There was no matching between the students and the mentor. And also the lab, as Ahmed said, it could be the team, staff in the lab was not cooperating or was not knowing, creating a relationship with that training. The other issue is that we want to convey also a message that it can't be a good mentor to all students, and where I fail, that's the mentor talking about himself. While I fail, someone else may succeed. And that's clear in this scenario. When the student in case one was encouraged by his mentor to move on and to reconsider another career, he went to another lab, he was pioneer there, he was succeeded. So the convey or the lesson here is the relation. The same person who was judged by his mentor that he's not fit to be a scientist, when he went to another place, he was succeeded. It reminds me to be humble about mentoring. That's not to judge students and never predict what they can do. Happily, they will surprise you. That means don't judge based on no evidence. Mentors are often viewed from the light of the performance of their former trainee. People will say that this candidate, this new researcher is excellent because he was trained by mentor X. Okay. So the relation will continue all life. Thank you. At the end of this presentation, I would like to thank also the TWAS, the National Academy of Science, for their giving us the chance to participate in this important workshop. Thank you.
Okay, we have 5 minutes for comments. I'll start at this table. Where's the mic?
Just as a note, if I'm your student and this was a lecture given for me, I will be first frustrated at the end. Because first, if your objective is to build a mentor-trainee relationship, and I'm only here and my mentor is not here, how will we build a mentor-trainee relationship? You have to bring both persons who are in this relationship. So you didn't even say who are the target audience, first of all. And second of all, I have already information about mentor-trainee. So what you are suggesting is that the mentor is the supervisor, and I know that it's different. So whatever you were saying, all over going on, in same specialty, being in the lab twice, 3 times a week or once a week, I'm not with you for that at all. Because now I find that your information are lacking some accuracy. So I'm frustrated at the end, if I'm your student.
May I have a question, please? Thanks for the presentation. I liked it. So I have 2 quick comments. The first comment, how you gonna assess your course? I just had the feeling that the course is just kind of questionnaire or brainstorming, so I didn't get the point of how you're gonna assess your course. You didn't mention about the pre-assessment and the post-assessment. I would suggest when you for the case study, someone was just telling the case study. When you are speak about the case study by heart, it's more obvious for your students. Also, I would suggest if the objectives are kind of measurable objectives, you highlighted them, but it should be measurable. So I would suggest if you do like the objectives something which is measurable, it looks nicer.
Thanks for the comment. Let me quickly answer this. For this meeting or this session, we will use case study 2. We had 2 case study. At the end of the course, we may use some formative evaluation or some sort of MCQ exam or something like that. And the objectives are measurable. I think it's too bad to do. But thank you.
Thank you. We got to see this case yesterday, and you've added some good things to it. I think the conclusion, where you talk more concretely about the fact that there needs to be a good match in the environment as well as with the mentor and the student, is a very good thing. Because although students do know, maybe they're still going to feel that it's their fault, or that their mentor is somebody who they don't ever want to see again, rather than that sometimes it's the combination that doesn't work. And I think that conclusion was very strong and very useful. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for the nice presentation, but I'm as a student for you, so I cannot differentiate between what is a supervisor is and what is a mentor, because I really cannot to know what is mentor, who, and who is a supervisor, and who should supervise my work. Is a mentor or supervisor?
3 more comments, please.
Yeah, go to the other side of the room.
Can I just add on to what my colleague here said concerning mentor and supervisor? I think you should have started by distinguishing between the two. In other words, you can be both a mentor and supervisor, or they can be two different persons. Now, about, I'd say 10 or 15 days ago, there was a workshop on this in Georgia University, to distinguish between them.
So somebody back here? Okay, come on up here.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the nice presentation. And may I say that I like the second part more than the first part where we started the case study. I felt that in the first part when you were giving information more than receiving input, you left out some people from your audience that you needed to engage more. So maybe when you asked them to form groups and instead of just telling them what are the good criteria in a mentor, actually you could have used what you have written on the chartboard here. And I would have loved to see one of your team members actually coming and do this for you instead of another person from another team. So that's all. Thank you.
Laila?
Laila has read it all the time.
It was a bit confusing from the beginning, the mentor supervisor, is it the two, or, when you asked how frequently the mentor should be in the lab, because, if it's just a mentor, it's not supposed to reach the lab. And then just one thing, I think beside the relationship between the mentor and the mentee is that it's the work, the methodology of work, and the work itself. So beside if you like or you don't like the supervisor, it's how the work should be, which will succeed, and could be. We all have an impression, the first impression. We cannot, as a human, we always have this impression. But like if the work is going well, and the methodology is good, I think with everyone will, really understand it. It was a good presentation.
Great, thank you. Let me clarify something. This was just one session of the 1 year or 1 semester long course, and as last table said, it can be mentor, can be supervisor, or it can be one person or just two person. And even if I am a mentor, I have to visit the lab. Being a mentor doesn't mean I just sit on my desk and drink coffee and reading reports. I have to, even if I'm a mentor, I have to visit the lab. That's the way I see it. Yeah, and I've taken a lot of mentors, of course, not lab supervisors.
I'd like to first thank you for the presentation. I just want to give a comment that the first I heard about mentor is in this workshop yesterday and today. But if I were a student and you were giving this, what I would give of this is that I would be optimistic of what a mentor is, and it gives me, I was happy with the presentation because it gives me a relief that if things go wrong, it's possible, that we have to build a relationship. So if you're giving this, your target is graduates before they start, I think it gives a very positive impact. Thank you, good presentation.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions. Go back there.
Thank you for the presentation. It was nice. We are working on the same topic, so it's very important, but we are other point to discuss with you, so we are happy to have your feedback. My point of view is, myself, I did my PhD outside of my country. I have contributed in selecting my mentor.
This will help you, to negotiate, if you have more than options, you can choose between them. But as you said, it could be,
not selection.
This depends on the rules.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. One more question. One over here.
Okay, thank you very much for the very nice presentation. But I was wondering about the objectives of the presentation and the audience which this presentation is directed to. So one of your objectives was to address the selection criteria for a mentor, while the other was to understand or how to build a mentor-mentee relationship. Is that right? So I think for the selection criteria, the audience should be seniors, so that could be faculty members, while the other one should be junior, like students. So I think it's quite hard to direct it to the same audience.
Okay. Thank you very much. What we're going to do now is that we're going to take a 10-minute